Hello. Today I'd like to speak to you for 5 minutes about what sort of things you need to think about when specifying LED floodlights for airports, apron areas, and even container terminal applications. There are a lot of different elements that make up a specification, and some of them need to be thought about carefully. For example, you need to always consider the right color temperature for your airport. Now, this could be driven by local regulation. So, for example, in some countries, its requirement is that it's a 4000 Kelvin, like a warm white light, or even a 3000 Kelvin. In other countries, this isn't specified. And typically, we recommend a 5000 Kelvin system because this is the one that allows you to have the most work-like environment. It's sharp, it's vibrant, and efficient. You have to think about the CRI. This is the color rendering index, and I've seen a few instances where specification documents have proposed to have a very high level of CRI, 80, 90, even 100. And actually, that's completely not required. Your color rendering, anything above 70, is absolutely perfect for apron application. Anything in the 80s and 90s already starts to look into the retail sector, where you're looking at things like diamonds and food and counters, so where the color really makes a difference. Sometimes even for high definition cameras, so if you're in a sports venue or you're doing any kind of live transmission, that color rendering index will be important. But for normal application, 5000 Kelvin would be the ideal. Then you have to think about things such as optics. Are we using symmetric or asymmetric optics? In an asymmetric optic, the beam intensity of the light the peak is much less than a symmetric light. So that means typically in an application, glare is much reduced. So if glare is an important aspect, and mostly in airports and ports it is, because that doesn't only affect pilots, but also ground staff and passengers, then you should consider using asymmetric optics for that application. Also think about weight and windage of the luminaires you're proposing. If this is a retrofit system, so you're using existing masts and putting new luminaires, typically LEDs will provide a lot of benefits like energy efficiency, longevity, clarity, bringing things back up to compliance very often. In those instances, you need to think about the existing structures on which you are putting this LED fixture on. So the more compact and less windage, the better it is from an engineering standpoint. Do you need to think about the structural integrity of your mast? If you're reducing the weight and windage and your structural integrity is fine, normally you're okay to go. But it's always good practice to have a structural engineer review your masts before you do a retrofit project, just to be on the safe side if your masts are quite old. Something to think about as well is what kind of experience is the supplier that you are working with able to share with you. Has he done airport projects in the past? Because actually it is a very technical solution, it's very compliance driven, and what you really want is to have somebody who's done it before and can bring their experience and knowledge to you, as opposed to somebody who's doing it for the very first time and may not really understand all the nuances of an apron area lighting system. Also think about certification. It's very easy to submit documents and very easy to claim you have different parameters of your product, but is that actually certified by an independent lab? And if it is that an actual product, or is that a golden sample or theoretical one? So really a key criteria is experience and case studies of similar applications. That's going to be very important. And finally, is the company that you're working with there to support you on the installation side, the after service? Do they have a good team on the design for future reconfigurations? So will you really have a relationship with your supplier after you have had your project completed, or is it a hit and run type of project? These are some things you should think about when specifying your luminaires. If you'd like some help, we're always on the other end of the line. Call us, email us, and we can share with you our guide for perfect specification writing for apron lighting. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.